Hi folks, thanks again for joining me. Tried to inject a bit of colour in today's painting, lots of the red, alizarin crimson, light red, a bit of yellow in there as well. So before I show you how I painted this one, just a quick plug of the book, Watercolour Painting Made Simple, Volume 3. Simple step-by-step photographic guides, just to guide you through each of the paintings. There's about nine chapters in there that'll keep you going for a while. So softback, hardback, Kindle, all available on Amazon. So let me show you the colours I used for this one. So if we get the palette the right way round, for this one I've used ultramarine, lemon yellow, Payne's grey, alizarin crimson, burnt umber, raw sienna. I didn't use the burnt umber today, and light red's the other one. The brushes I used the large one, Ransonake, and just the little rigger brush. So I'm going to kick this one off as normal with the clear water all over the paper. Incidentally, recording this, I was pretty close to a boat on this painting when I messed the sky up and just stopped doing the commentary. I was gonna knock it on the head, but I carried on, battled through it, and in the end I was quite pleased with the painting, really. So I thought I'd do the commentary afterwards. So this is a bit of raw sienna, a bit of light red, alizarin crimson, trying to create that sort of bright horizon line, which will contrast against a slightly cooler top part of the sky, which would be just ultramarine. So just taking light red straight off the palette, trying to get that dramatic injection of colour. Never used to do that, but finding it works quite well. So this is ultramarine going up into the sky area. A little bit of alizarin crimson in there as well for variation. So there's various mixes, ultramarine on its own, and then added a bit of Payne's grey. This is where I'm trying to, there's a bit of cloud on the top, and then I've sort of introduced sort of darker patches in the foreground from either side. Now I'm trying to create a few more clouds in the sky, and I think at this point I was starting to look a little bit messy. Trying to get a bit of lemon yellow into that horizon line as well. So I'm back up into the sky area. Essentially, I'm just trying to drop some background colour to paint on. So a bit more clouds. I think this is the point where I was starting to think this isn't really working very well, but I stuck with it. So I'm just trying to get that sky area right. So that comes the tissue. Try and soak up what's already gone on. I'm trying to do a bit of a repair job at this point now, before I turn the paper over and start it again. So it's, I think the lemon yellow was still on the brush at that point when I went in for the ultramarine, so I ended up getting green in the sky. So I'm kind of trying to clean my brush now, get some ultramarine on up there, get it back to a blue colour, and then I can try and make clouds out of the messy parts. I think like a lot of my paintings, they tend to look a bit of a mess at the start, and then they just slowly come together over time as they get closer and closer to the end. So these are the most distant mountains, predominantly a bit of alizarin crimson used there. Just to put, I say mountains, a lot more like hills. Just put nicely against the sort of the yellow colour of the sky, and then just below those distant hills, a bit of darker land, and you can see where now the foreground now is like a lot of water. It's reflecting that sort of yellow in the sky area. So I'm using a lot of Payne's grey, alizarin crimson, corner of the brush, trying to define where the trees work their way down to the banks of the lake, and then plenty of Payne's grey now. See how that's contrasting nicely against the yellow sky. Just using the tissue to dab out a few clouds. Try and do a bit of a repair job up in the sky area. Always comes in handy, that tissue. I only replace it about once every couple of months. Most of the time it's dirty, so it doesn't absorb properly. I would recommend just using a clean tissue more often than not. So because the paper's stretched, you can pre-stretch it before you start painting if you wish. I tend to just do it as I'm going along. So sort of 5 minutes in, it's had a bit of a stretch now, so I've just re-clipped it there on the right hand side using the clips. And it's good to go again. So now I'm back to the hake brush. I'm just putting a bit of lighter colour down at the base of those right hand trees. Bit of raw sienna, lemon yellow, creating a sort of grassy bank, working its way down to the water's edge. And now trying to define this edge, so I've used a chisel edged hake there, just enough water just to keep the hairs together, that's all. If you use any more water than that, it just dilutes the colours too much. Plus, if the paper's already wet, the water will just go everywhere. It takes a bit of getting used to the hake brush, but if you stick with it, you'll get there eventually. It's all about patience, just like trying to learn any craft, really. Switching over to the left hand side, same mix as the right hand trees. We've got alizarin crimson, a bit of ultramarine in there as well, Payne's grey. Again, trying to contrast the tops of the trees, the profile of those trees there against that yellow background. Just strengthening the banks there with the dark mix on the brush. Just got that nice chisel edge. Just dip the tips of the hake into the water just to get that edge. Just keeps all the hairs together, stops them splitting. Now I've just switched to the plastic card and just scraped a few rocks and stones along the banks. I'm trying to be subtle as I can. It's easy to overdo it. If you do overdo it, just paint straight over the ones where you've done too much. So cleaning the brush and a bit of lemon yellow, raw sienna on there as well, and again putting a bit of light colour at the base of those trees. A few more darks in again. Just where I'm just the banks again, putting them in dark. So now I'm going to scrape a few more rocks on this left hand side as well. So the darker it is, the more the rocks will show up, basically. So just touching up the edges there. So I just wanted to get those trees a little bit stronger, a little bit darker in tone, so they're contrasted more against the sky. It makes them look more shadowy, just enhances the light a little bit. It's all about contrasts, the paintings, light against dark all the time. Doing the same on this left hand side as well, just darkening it all. Well, not all of it, leaving a little bit of it the same colour as before, just to get that variation. Also, you know, helps create a bit of depth as well. So again, just making sure the paper's flat before I carry on, because I know I'm going to start scraping these trees on, so the rocks on, so it needs to be flat against the board. Now, so here I'm just scraping out just a very simple cabin, just doing the roof first, then the sides, and then just some sort of random details along the bottom. A few fence posts, there could be anything, you know, logs, line. So just giving that a quick dry before I continue. Always comes in handy, the hairdryer. You can just let it dry naturally if you want. Always use the hairdryer just to speed things up a bit. So the painting is starting to come together now. Not too much left to do. But you can see how just putting that cabin in just gives it that little bit of detail. It gives it a focal point, makes it look more interesting. Just putting the little birds in with the rigger brush here, and all that's left to do now is pop my name in the corner, and that's another one finished. So this is the finished painting. It's mounted. If we go and have a closer look. Several parts of the sky, got sort of ultramarine across the top here, then a few layers, got crimson and a lot of yellow, sort of light, well, predominantly alizarin crimson with a little bit of light red in there as well, along with the yellow. Made a bit of a, I think might just about have repaired it. Just put some white clouds all the way across there, some darker ones in there on the other side. Got the distant mountains in using the crimson and a little bit of Payne's grey in there as well, fading off into the distance. And I've used the same colours first on these trees on the left hand side, and then again putting them in nice and dark here on the right. You can see the first one's going and then the second one's a lot stronger in tone, create that sort of depth, and also the added advantage, because it's darker, I can scrape in this building with the fences there and it just shows up nicely. Got the water reflecting the sky there, sweeping round right into the foreground, and then just scraped a few rocks and stones along the banks of the river. And then our little birds there flying overhead. So that's it for this one. I hope you enjoy that. Thanks for watching. Keep practicing. If you've got any questions, please don't hesitate to ask, and I'll see you again soon.